Hello. So today I wanted to talk about assistive devices. We've already talked about on this channel. Many people have mentioned Dragon voice recognition software. So that would be a type of assistive device. Help somebody who can't do something to do that thing, just in a different way. So that could be anything from glasses to voice recognition software to wheelchairs and other similar things that would help you move if you have difficulty moving. People often say of lupus and fibromyalgia, which I have, and rheumatoid arthritis and similar disorders, that it's something of an invisible disease or disorder. And that's because you don't know that somebody is in pain or is struggling unless they tell you, most times. Sometimes, especially when you know the person, it's a bit more obvious, but not necessarily, and especially not to the untrained eye. And so assistive devices can take somebody who has an invisible disease or disorder and make it pretty visible. And that's not usually something that you want to draw attention to. But at the same time, you should be able to do anything that you want to go and do within reason, I suppose. And the reason would be whatever you decide, because it's your life. So one thing that I've really been struggling with recently, in addition to not being able to type, and as much as I might like, because I can type, just it's very limited, because my hands will start to hurt, and I would rather avoid my hands hurting. So for me, that's usually how an assistive device is going to come into play. I could do something, but it might net me a whole lot of pain. So I have to weigh, okay, is the pain going to be worth it? Like a trip to the grocery store. Have to eat. Have to go and get groceries. So if that means that walking through the grocery store is going to cause me pain later, that's kind of too bad, because I have to eat. I have to go and get groceries. So that would be a situation where it's kind of unavoidable. Now, there is the option of using a wheelchair. Or one of the little motorized scooters that the grocery store has. First off, the grocery stores are not meant for people who are in wheelchairs. That's just number one. There's a lot of just even the aisles that a wheelchair will not fit into. So that can be pretty problematic right off the bat. There's, of course, all of the food and other items that are on top shelves that are unreachable to somebody that's sitting in a chair. So that'd be kind of problem number two. And I'm sure there are more problems, but that's not really the point of this blog post here. For me, I live in a really tiny town, and so you get used to the people that are in your town. You see them all over the place, and so even if you don't know them, you kind of feel like you know them, at least a little bit. So if I go to work and I'm walking around and I'm standing and, what have you, moving in a normal-ish fashion, and then you see me at the grocery store and I'm in a wheelchair, and then I go, wonder what's up with that. And then the next day you see me, or even later on in the day, and I'm walking, because I'm able to walk. I feel like judgment might be the result. And I don't want to be judged just for finding ways to move about the world that's going to cause me the least amount of pain. It's really frustrating and uncomfortable, and I don't have, I guess, proper walls built up to protect myself and my fragile feelers. But so I just don't usually utilize that option. I just walk and I just deal with it and just make it happen. But in thinking about events like Pride that's coming up, or if I ever had the money to go to Disney World or Disneyland or do something that would be really fun, that would be outside of my normal activity level, I would potentially need help in some way to make that happen. And so right now it doesn't just cause me pain to walk. I am having a lot of weakness in from my elbow to my hand, but also from my knees down to my feet. They're very weak. And so, especially looking at Pride, where I'm the facilitator of a group that's marching in Pride, and I'm going to be at the booth all day long, answering questions and doing public speaking, and it's going to be an all-day event, and that's what I signed up for, and that's what I plan on. So there's no, if I can't go to the grocery store today, well, hopefully I can do it tomorrow. I can't move Pride. It's non-mobile. It is the day that it's on, and if I'm having a bad day that day, well, then that's what's happening. And so as it grows closer, I grow a little more nervous because I'm not really sure what I'm going to do and how I'm going to cope, and if I'm even going to need to cope, because it seems that the second that I tell the world, as soon as I blog about it, my symptoms change or go away for a little while and then come back the next day. And so it's a very weird disorder, and it's not consistent, and it's kind of ever-changing, and there may not necessarily be a rhyme or reason for why I feel really good today and really bad tomorrow, or vice versa. So I am very, I guess, apprehensive and nervous about being judged at Pride, because if I need the parade is the first thing. So it's slow walking. It's certainly not, a fast race, and it's a relatively short parade route, all things considered, but I don't normally walk parade routes in my day-to-day life. So it's a little bit more difficult for me. And it's, if I get halfway and can't keep going, well, I'm now in the middle of a busy street that I've just kind of, stopped in the middle of. It's not like I'm in the middle of my house and I go, oh, can't do it, have to stop. So I'm apprehensive, and I'm mostly apprehensive about using a wheelchair or something else to help me get through the parade route, and then not need those things while I hang out at the booth for the rest of the day, because really, hanging out at the booth involves lots and lots and lots of sitting. And when I get tired of sitting, I can just stand up. And once I'm tired of standing, I can sit back down again. And so the booth is significantly more comfort-oriented. It's easier. I'm not going to need an assistive device to just sit there, because whether I'm sitting in a wheelchair or I'm sitting in a chair, I'm still sitting. And so I won't need to be in the wheelchair, but that can lead to some confusion and some misunderstandings, and I guess we could all say, screw them. But I'm there mainly for advocacy, and I guess I just don't know how to kind of face and deal with that level of advocacy, because it's something that I've been keeping invisible, my abilities and level of abilities and coping skills, and it's now becoming a little less invisible, and I guess I don't know how to deal with that. I'll find a way, I'll figure it out, but hashing it out at the moment. I guess my whole point is, if you see somebody in a wheelchair, that doesn't necessarily mean that they can't walk at all. If you see somebody using a cane or a walker, that doesn't mean that they need it all the time necessarily. It might mean that, but don't assume, because they might just be needing it right now. And that doesn't mean that they're lazy or they're just playing around and using it as a toy. Roosters in the background, sorry. It means that that's what they feel that they need right this moment, and that's okay. That's their choice. Because trust me, if you don't need a wheelchair, especially a wheelchair, you're not going to use it because the world's not set up for it. It's really hard to roll through the grass. Even the little ramps that get you up onto the sidewalks are not often even made wide enough for a wheelchair. So you have to just kind of... The maneuverability of the world when you're working from a chair is not ideal. The only reason that somebody would do it is because the pros outweigh the cons. So, try not to judge if you see somebody. Yeah, don't judge. Just don't do it. Okay, have a great day.